What's up, everybody? I want to follow up a little bit here. If for those of you that have been listening to the recordings, the conversation with Adam Jackson, you may be wondering to yourself or thinking to yourself that, well, the quote unquote good doctor offered an appointment. There at the end of the conversation, and I obliged. I said, sure, go ahead and schedule your next soonest appointment, and send me something in the mail, and we'll deal with it then. Well, the thing is that many of you don't realize, obviously, because I haven't mentioned it, is he never bothered to schedule any appointment whatsoever, nor issue a consult, nor anything at all. So here, even though I've asked him, I have it on the record that I've asked him to schedule the appointment, he refused. And so since he refused, I then said, okay, well, if you're not going to go ahead and at least schedule the appointment that you're telling me I have to go through this process to get the care that I'm promised, then I'm going to ask for the original care and services that I require, the chiropractic and neurological care, which they're still refusing and have. And then I mentioned, not to reiterate the whole thing, but notified the Secretary of the VA on March 3rd, and it's been a game ever since of trying to figure out if the left hand knows what the right hand is doing when dealing with the VA, because from 1 minute it's the Secretary of the VA's responsibility to address the issue, and then the next minute it's the Office of General Counsel's responsibility to address the issue, and then they kick it back to the Secretary of the VA, and it's just back and forth. They just keep kicking the can down the road and not really resolving anything, not being responsible or doing their duty. And so they're allowing all these crimes, what I consider crimes and malfeasance, to continue. They've covered up what happened to me. They're covering up what happened to me, and they're ignoring it, and they're not allowing me to get the resolution that's both amicable for me and also for the VA that I offered in those documents. And so again, this is just more to pile on top of what I've already been dealing with. But as I stated before, this is an extension of that. Because of what they did back in 2019, they damaged my reputation with the VA. And so now I find it, well, for the past couple of years since then, I have found it progressively more difficult to just get the basic care and services that I need for my health care, specifically for service-connected injuries, that the VA is supposed to and required to provide. So I guess if they don't want to provide the care that they said they were going to, they promised, then that's called breach of contract and breach of trust. They violated my trust by promising one thing and delivering another. That's also fraud, by the way. Not to mention the fact that I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the last ones, but with these VA providers, doctors that are taking the position, the title, taking the pay, the benefits, and not providing the services and duties that come along with that position, they're taking advantage of it. It's to their advantage over the people whom they're supposed to be serving, and the VA itself that put them in that place, that hired them or appointed them, whichever. And so, yeah, ultimately, I'm tired of the shenanigans and the bullshit. I wish these people would just grow the hell up, learn how to read, be responsible, and if they don't want to or don't know how to, they just need to go away, step down, retire, move to a different planet if that's even possible. I don't care, but these people just need to stop. They need to stop being a cancer on society, for lack of better terms. So I wanted to follow up with that, because I think I forgot to mention that in the last recordings. That so in fact, like as I mentioned, the refusal of care, refusal of service since September of last year, and that recording that just a few recordings ago, the Adam Jackson conversation, That conversation was from about 4 months ago. So let's see, we're in June now, so that would be around February-ish, that I had the conversation with Adam Jackson. And so at that point, it was September to February, which is about 5 months or so, 6 months, something like that. And then, or four. Anyways, maybe five. My math is a little bit off right now. So you got about 5 months or so there, and then fast forward to today. We're in end of June, still being refused. Well, that's about 9 months. Because if I remember right, it was about the beginning of September when all that started. So, coming up beginning of July, that'll be 9 months that I've been refused care and service, basic care and service that I'm supposed to be receiving by the VA, and they're refusing. So this is just further evidence. I don't know what it takes to get these people to even communicate. I still have yet to have anybody from the Office of General Counsel to even provide a name, contact number, or mailing address to be able to communicate. They keep failing to leave that information through the VA hotline complaints, cases, and these resolutions. All they leave is Office of General Counsel or front desk of Office of General Counsel. But last time I checked, the desk can't write anything, can't process anything, can't investigate anything. So how can a front desk, provide a resolution for a complaint case? It's impossible. There has to be somebody, a person, quote unquote, acting, or excuse me, a man or a woman acting on behalf of the person in that position or title that's providing this so-called information. And they need to identify themselves, and they failed. But it's probably because there's no accountability. And then on top of that, if they were to identify themselves, that'd make it easier for me to hold them accountable if they didn't do the right thing. So it seems like it's a coordinated effort to failure to identify and obfuscate identity due to responsibility and accountability. So I think that's called dereliction of duty. I mean, I don't know. You can look it up to verify that. Don't take my word for it, but I'm pretty sure that's called dereliction of duty. So I'm going to keep this pretty short. Like I said, I just wanted to add that little bit there, and just consider it. This is what's going on in our backyards. This is what's going on in many of these police departments. They're not applying the law correctly. Most of you are too stupid to realize it. So you support it, just like these jerk-off people in the jury that think that their votes matter. Think that they actually, pick a president or a politician. It's probably rigged. And even if it isn't, it's well known that the direct votes don't necessarily pick a lot of these positions. That's why there's electors. The electors pick the positions, not the voters. But dare I digress, however you say it. So, think about it. This is going on. You're in your family members, friends, people you interact with every day. You may not even realize that these people are so unhinged, they're so disconnected from reality and delusional that they think that what they're doing is good and okay and right. And they think they have the authority and right to do it. And many of these people are acting in bad faith. And that directly violates not only the laws that they're bound by, but the Constitution and everything else above that pertains to it. Dereliction of duty and acting in bad faith, and essentially what doesn't fall under qualified immunity. And then on top of that too, I wanted to add that as much as I would like to take everything from these people and leave them destitute and make them, basically claw their way back and build themselves back to some degree if they're able to. I don't want to do that to their families, because their families don't deserve it. If I was to take a house, a vehicle, bank accounts, and all that stuff, investments, you know what I mean? it could get pretty ugly, and the repercussions of that could affect innocent people who weren't involved. And unfortunately, or how should I say, I don't think they should have to pay for their family members' poor choices and, from my perspective, treason. So I think, in the spirit of, I think the whole reason that I've done this, it's the idea of holding them accountable. And as much as I'd like to get paid and be wealthy, from that aspect, I mean, to be honest with you, when I really think about it, the money that would be coming from that is essentially worthless anyways. So what would be the point of having 300 million worthless pieces of paper when, oh man, yeah, I could go out and buy a new car, I could go out and buy a property, and I could have a little bit of liberty in that sense, a little bit more lubrication when it comes to buying the things that I want and getting to where I want to be. But ultimately, I think what's more important to me than getting to where I want to be is making sure that these people can't do it to other people. And so I'm going to be working on not only a lawsuit, but working with the proper authorities. I'm considering becoming a witness against all of these people in a much larger, how should I say, situation. And that's what I alluded to a couple months back, and maybe even almost a year ago now, that about Checkmate, and I had kind of had them in my sights, and they thought they had won, but they only barely scraped by and won the battle, and it was only because they cheated essentially. But the war was in my hands, and I was in full control of that. And I hate to use these terminologies, war and everything else, but when we talk about warrants and war rants and war ants, are they the same thing? Are they meaningless? Are they meaningful? I don't know. You tell me. So, yeah, these people really need to get their act together, because I am just the beneficiary of the agreements. And though I'm not perfect in everything that I do, I admit my mistakes, and I do everything I can in my power to rectify or fix any mistakes that I make. Whereas these people don't seem to have a conscience and no accountability, which probably helps empower them to not have a conscience. And so they do this sort of thing to people, and it's, to me, unconscionable. So consider it. Again, like I've said before, you owe it to yourself to know the truth and let the truth set you free. And I can only lead you to the water to drink. If you don't want to drink, I can lead the horse to water, but it can't drink. The whole cliche or adage. I can provide the information, but I can't force you to think. So it's up to you. You got to make the conscious effort and look this stuff up. Not just what I'm talking about today, but what I've mentioned in the past. Any specific codes, laws, Supreme Court rulings, the Constitution. If you're not looking it up yourself, if you're one of these jerk-off asshats that's making rude comments in the comment section that just wants to, I don't know, make yourself feel special because you can run your dick-sucking lips, flap them like a little bitch, and like you just want attention. That's all it is. I get it. But it's enough of that. Enough of the childishness. I still like to have fun, but within reason. There's time and a place. So, anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and keep your head up.